handle the truth.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Thomas Free Me TV and podcast show. Thursday night, get right. As you see, I got Mr. Paul PJ Kratsas with us tonight, as Demetris is not feeling well. He has health issues. He's been in the hospital since Monday. I was just notified of this today. So he's been in the hospital since Monday with complications. So let's all please just send a collective prayer for strength and healing his way. He's getting his test results now. So hopefully we'll have an update by the end of the show. So Mr. PJ is going to fill in tonight to talk about what it is that we got to talk about. PJ, how you doing up there in Baltimore, man?
Doing good. Can't complain.
Can't complain, huh? It's been a minute since we connected.
Definitely, but what has it been, about a month, 2 months?
Yeah, a couple months, man. This time flies, but I'm going to talk tonight, man, a couple things, man. We're going to talk about this Mitch Freeze and just something that I noticed after watching the video for 1,000 times. Something just came to me that, I just wanted to point out to the American citizens. But more importantly, we're going to talk about this heat, man, spreading throughout the South, really all through the nation, and what these inmates have to deal with. We have inmates that are dying. They're falling out on, with heat strokes. My guy, Mr. John Merritt, has been sick, having kidney issues and had a slight touch of heat stroke himself. So it's rampant through the South, and these guys are sitting in these sweat boxes with no air conditioning, broken fans. These fans are old and broken, so we'll get into some of that. But PJ, you saw the video with Mitch freezing, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I can't put my finger on it though. Like maybe it's like a robot that got a glitch or something.
That's what a lot of people are saying, the glitch in the matrix and whatnot. But I have a video. I'm gonna see if, let me take PJ off and let me show the video. I know everybody has seen it, but let me just show it one more time here, so I can show the people what it is that I'm talking about.
Okay. This week has been good bipartisan cooperation.
Watch the lady in the green. Nobody knows who this lady is.
She's the operator.
We play this again and just watch what happens. She walks in with a smile and says something very serious and turns back around with the smile, and as soon as she says it, he freezes. Play it again.
And a string of
she says something, turns away from the camera, says something, and he completely freezes. And this weird guy in the back, I don't know who this guy is, but he's just standing there and his eyes are all over the place, like he's waiting on something. And Mitch is just like, he cannot believe what he just heard. His brain's trying to process this stuff.
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
I just,
Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I just don't know what's going on, man. So
Go ahead, John.
she definitely said something. She definitely said something that made him freeze. What do you think
Got
about
him
that?
thinking. He was thinking about something deep.
This is what I know, man. With all of this stuff that's coming out, we're hearing about all the now they're coming out. The UFOs are coming out. The government's coming out saying that UFOs are real. We've known this. They've been desensitizing us to this with all of these alien movies for the last 40 years, right? So now the government comes out and says that UFOs are out there. What a distraction that would cause. What a distraction that would cause. So I went and I started looking and whatnot. And what's been going on, I made a TikTok about this. What's been going on behind the scenes is the switch. And they're saying that this switch is going to occur in 2023 and possibly no later than September. That we'll be experiencing blackouts, that we'll be experiencing just glitches, things of that nature as this switch occurs. And it's just oddly enough that they come out with, okay, guys, here it is. Aliens are real. Right before this glitch is going to take place, the switch, so that any glitches that were to occur, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there because I've been talking about this since 2020. What switch am I talking about is from the American dollar to cryptocurrency. So people really need to watch what's going on right now in these hearings with this cryptocurrency thing, XRP, everything that's going on there. And uh, there's a lot going on, PJ. There's a lot going on that the American citizens don't know, don't understand, too busy to deal with because they're either walking the street, like we just talked about, doing their thing, or working to pay their bills and survive, and don't have time to sit here and watch C SPAN all day, watch these hearings all day to see what's really going on. But there's a big movement within the cryptocurrency and the government as we speak. And non disclosure agreements are being signed, MOUs, memorandums of understanding, are being signed between government officials and cryptocurrency people or whatever it is that they're doing. But this is what they're working on in the back scenes. And what I've been saying since 2020, because I've been trading in the crypto market, is that they are going to tank the dollar. This is why they don't care about the debt. People keep talking about this debt. Man, we don't care about this debt. Keep printing, keep printing, keep printing. Because we're going to tank the dollar and then we're going to switch over to cryptocurrency like those smaller countries did.
Yeah, before they can switch, they have to crash the dollar. So basically, the U.S. dollar is going to be worthless, no more than it'd be worthless. You can wipe your, with it. It's just like every other faith-based currency around the world has happened to. There's not one faith-based currency that has not became worthless. So, these people got their money in the bank or got their money in their mattress at home. It's going to be worthless. They can might as well use it for toilet paper. So basically, you want to own things that have intrinsic value. When Kennedy was alive, the last president, he had us on silver, gold backed money. He took away the the power of coining and controlling money from the Federal Reserve,
That's
which
right.
is a private 12 regional governors, private corporation, founded by J.P. Morgan.
That's right.
So he took that back. He took that back, and he paid a heavy price.
As did all of them. As did all of them. When you really dig into the root of what is going on and you start following the money, going all the way, American citizen, going all the way back to the Revolutionary War,
Yes. And
right?
let me
Going
just say one thing. Let me just say one thing before you go into that. I want you to continue that thought. But Russia is the only country that has not fell into the Federal uh,
right.
Reserve trap in controlling
The
their
central
country.
banking, yeah, they're sovereign.
Central banking. Okay, so that is why they all ganging up on him, and so the media in
That's
this
why Russia's
country,
the
the
that's why Russia's the
government,
enemy.
the government is controlled by these people. the powerful, the Rothschilds, all those, and they are basically puppets. And Sikkim boy, Russia's the bad guy, and they got everybody, American citizens, are just so stupid, and they're like, "I'm with Ukraine."
Hmm.
I mean, they got one brain cell. They're with Ukraine. They don't even know what they're with. I mean, it's just American people are just so degenerate and stupid. It's ridiculous, you know.
Well,
So
a lot of people it's I stopped really calling American citizens stupid because I understand and I understand where you're coming from, but I understand also, Paul, that these are people who have been duped. They believed in a system. They've been working this
yeah,
system their whole life.
they
And
believe. Yes,
so it's and what it is that they don't understand. They actually think that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated because of civil rights. They think
no,
that John Kennedy was assassinated because of civil rights. Nobody never talks about Garfield because Garfield's assassination, they couldn't pin that on either one. They could not pin, get this now, and you can research this. They could not pin Garfield's assassination on those civil rights or anything else. So what did they do? They created, it was a madman. This was just a complete lunatic who happened to just get close to James Garfield, the president, and assassinate him. There was no motive behind it. He was just a lunatic, right? But when you collect all of our presidents who have been assassinated, you look at the timeline, then you'll start to understand one thing, that Britain has been constantly trying to infiltrate America since America's inception. They still try to do it today. This is where this whole democracy thing comes from, because it's we're a democracy like UK and America, right? So it's understanding the structure and going back to Abraham Lincoln was against the Federal Reserve, the
yeah,
idea of a central banking system. This is what
right.
the war was about. This is why Britain was constantly trying to infiltrate us, is because they wanted their European banking system over here in America. And this is why our founding fathers left from over there. They left from over there because at the time, this country, this land was the last remaining land on earth that was not controlled by the centralized banking system. These people knew that. This is why they called this the last frontier. They came here and in their minds, their visionary minds, the racist visionary minds at that time, they were trying to create a structure to get away from that centralized, because they knew that the whole world was going to be controlled by this banking system. And they wanted to create a free barter system where you got what you work for, right? So this is what all the warring was about. This is what all the animosity was about. And then you threw the slave trade on top of it. And it was a covered mask for them to infiltrate behind the scenes to do what it was that they were doing. And Abraham Lincoln was against that, and he got assassinated for it.
And the thing also, they were all on board with Hitler until he did away with the central bank and started printing and back doing his own currency. Once he did that, they got all the New York media, the papers, and everywhere against and demonized Hitler. But before that, these same people were for Hitler and for him winning, and big factions of this government was also for him winning. But when he did away with the central bank and started controlling his own money, that's when
Well,
he
that
became.
was it was all a setup, because after World War One, they saw the money that they could make from it, and then you had the Versailles treaty, the Versailles Treaty, that put Germany in such a hole that it allowed this madman to rise up and gather people. But they knew that they allowed that man to come into power and sent him on his way to create a World War II, because you had those large families that were they were producing the band-aids and causing the bleeding. They're profiting on both sides. It's a win-win for them. So again, it's the war games that they play. But then you had James Garfield that was assassinated, right? He was against the Federal Reserve. Then, right around 1912, December, I believe, you have the launch of one of the world's the world's largest ship, the Titanic, right? And who was on the Titanic? All of the world's glitz and glamour. And just so happens to be at that time one of the richest men in the world, John something.
Astor.
Yes.
Astor.
Yep.
He was against, and him and the other dude, a lot of other guys on there that were invited by J.P. Morgan were against the Federal Reserve.
Invited
By J.P. Morgan.
by J.P. Morgan, right?
And then he walked on the boat and then turned around and walked off.
And got off. There was 5 or 6 of them, I believe, maybe more, that got off the morning of the launch, even though that they paid for this cruise. And all of the ones that got off were in support of the Federal Reserve. Right? Now, the one man that didn't get off was against the Federal Reserve, and he was the richest man in the world at the time and owned like 40% of all real estate. And down goes the ship.
But there was other people, big.
Yeah, there was a whole slew of them.
And then you got the same thing repeat itself with the submarine. Look at the backgrounds of those guys.
With the one that just
submarine. And what better place to put them with the other people we didn't like.
But not only that, but you know who funded that operation, right?
I could guess. I mean,
the Rockefeller family. Right. The Rockefeller family funded the operation to the Titan sub to go down to the Titanic, and all of a sudden it exploded.
All they did was again put their enemies in the same spot.
Yeah, you better leave that place alone. That's a haunted place. But so right after the Titanic, now again you can fact check this. Right after the Titanic, guess who comes into presidency? Woodrow Wilson, Democrat. Woodrow Wilson comes into presidency and immediately signs the Declaration of the Federal Reserve. He creates the Federal Reserve within the first 100 days. Yep. Within the first 100 days of his office, he signed in the act. Shortly after that, we had the first Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. And it was on and popping from there. And now we have banks on every corner. That is, people, that is what the Federal Reserve is. It's not an American entity. The Federal Reserve, the best way I explain it to people is think of like an American embassy, us having an American embassy on different continents in different countries. So these Federal Reserves are all over the world in different countries. And that's what they are, is embassies for the central banking system. That Federal Reserve is what fluctuates our economy. So when they want us broke, they'll make us broke to feed the rest of the world. This is why we're broke now, so that we can feed Ukraine, because of what they got going on in Ukraine. And like PJ said, you people run around talking about, go Ukraine, here goes I got $10 Ukraine, but you can get 8 of it. I love you. You guys need it. Look at them buildings. It's funny, I just watched a video the other day. I think it was BBC or something like that, where they were showing, again, you got to watch and pay attention. Don't listen and get caught up in all the action. Just analyze the video. Watch it from like a bird's eye view. Listen, man, these people, they're there and they're talking and there's rubble all over. I'm going to have to go find this video. There's rubble all over. You see this lady in the background picking up these big stones with one hand and piling them in her arm like this here, like 6 and 7 of them, and then walking off in the background. I'm like, man, what the hell? I'm like, man, did you see that lady back there? She just picking up these big stones with one hand and put them. Them people are strong over there.
It's all staged. Everything is staged. The bodies are staged too. The body bags, it's all staged.
Man, that stuff was painted styrofoam. That's all that was. But at the end of the day, we're sitting over here. What do you know? You're going out and you're working all these hours, and these people are striking your emotions to get you to take that money that you just made and send it somewhere that you have no idea what's going on. No clue. Only what this little box tells you. Now, if that don't sound crazy the way that I say it, that's exactly what you're doing. And I'm not telling people what to do. All I'm saying is just research into it. Spend a little bit of time because your money is valuable. And what's even more valuable than your money is the time that you're using of your life to make that money that you're so free willing to give away because you're emotional.
Well, it's only valuable because of faith based. Our currency is faith based, not intrinsic value.
So let's shift gears a little bit, man, and really get into the topic because more importantly, we got American citizens, man, who made some wrong choices in their life and they have to go and do a prison sentence that could possibly cost them their life, right? And I'm talking about the heat that's going on across America, particularly down here in the South, and more specifically in Texas. Texas has a real crisis on their hands that they don't know how to deal with it. I have a lot of fellow prison podcasters, TikTokers that are making posts left and right about getting a hold of your congressman, getting a hold of your governor, and 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 everybody really just trying to rally around this because people are dropping in clips. And if they're not dropping, they're being exposed to lifelong injuries to your kidneys, to organs, to many things. You could end up with cancer. So what you got to say about that, P?
Well, I lived through it, so I know. I mean, I
Amen.
was at Lewisburg in the '90s when we didn't have no air conditioning, and the walls were all steel, and there wasn't much air coming through the window, and it was very hot, And what I used to do was get a rag or a towel and wet it and
Mm.
lay it on top of me. And I did that for a long time, but then I got a little battery operated fan that really helped a lot. You know, I didn't never think a little fan like that, a little fan, battery operated fan would help, but it definitely made things bearable.
And that's if you got money to keep batteries coming because those batteries aren't going to last long, you know.
True.
But yeah, absolutely. Inmates are flooding their toilets to lay in the water on the floor, like you say, soaking their clothes in whatever water they can get. But you're being locked in cells with no circulation, and these cells are getting anywhere from 110 to 120 degrees, you know.
It's definitely freezing in the winter and really really hot in the summer. You know, so there's no question about that. One time I did like I guess you could say fall out. You know, lose consciousness for a quick bit. I was out there working out, and I was the only thing I can get out my mouth was I'm falling out. I'm falling out.
I
I mean, I couldn't do nothing. I just got them words out as I was going forward, and because I was lifting weights.
was gonna
And
say, you got the weight on you.
yeah, I got the weight, and my buddy caught me, and he caught the weight and everything, and then it gave me enough time to come to.
It
So it was
definitely
100+ degrees out there that day.
it definitely gets hot. It gets hot on that weight pile. You got all that iron around you. You got the steel gate around you. You got all of that, and then you're driving your body as well. Um, but you talk about, yeah, we were shredded back then, man.
It didn't matter. I liked working out. The hot
I
and
did too.
cold. the cold, the hot, it didn't matter. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's too cold. When it get warm, I want to work out." Then when it gets warm, they got another excuse, man. Excuses, excuses. Get with it. Don't make excuses. Make it happen. You know what I mean? I hate when it gets warm. I want to start working out. When it gets New Year's, I want to start working out. Man, come on, man. Everything gets excuses. Well, I'm going to start saving and get this. I'm going to do this. I want to. Man,
Amen.
no excuses. Just get it done.
Just get it done, brother. But see, the only time, see, I'm a Florida boy though, man. I don't like I keep my freezer open for only a couple seconds. So but when I was out in Texarkana in the wintertime, out on that wave pile, it got cold. I used to work out with Rick Ross out there. I was there with Rick Ross and a couple other people, but
You
we
gotta
used
you gotta interview him.
man, I've been trying to reach out to this dude, man, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. Ross is about money. So money talks. Money talks. I'd have to reach out to him and probably pay him to get on the show. But I definitely want. I've been trying to get him on the
I
show.
was I was in Lompoc with him. We used to play tennis together.
Yeah, yeah, cool dude, man, and doing a lot of good things out there himself. He's got his own channel going and getting his numbers up. People really starting to understand his story. The real
Right.
Rick Ross, not the rapper. The rapper stole his identity and caught fame off it. But the real Rick Ross that was dealing with the CIA, that was bringing all of the cocaine in from South America back in the 80s out in California, which created the crack epidemic. He is the creator of the crack epidemic. And at one point, this dude was rolling $1 million a day. $1 million a day, man. You imagine that?
I mean, when the government's supplying you with all the
It's
cocaine you want, when I should say when George Bush is supplying you with all the cocaine you want,
but
him and it was also supplying
well, that
Barry
was
Seal.
that was
Barry
Re-
Seal,
that was Reagan back then. That was Reagan in
right?
the
When
war on
Reagan was
drugs.
president, yes, but Bush was controlling all that. Reagan had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Barry Seal, you ever? There's a movie called Barry and the Boys, um, with what was the actor's name? The one that played in oh man, what's his name? Well, the movie's called Barry and the Boys,
Uh-huh.
and
Barry and the Boys.
yeah,
What
oh,
about it?
which it's a good movie. It's based on the same stuff that Rick Ross was doing. The CIA started Air America, and they were flying it in, and then Barry and the boys were in charge of transportation in Air America. You know that they started, and those planes were the ones that were supplying, you know, getting it to Rick basically.
Mm.
They were flying into Mena, Arkansas, and Governor Clinton was in charge of Arkansas, and he protected the loads that came in to Mena, Arkansas, and they
Right.
flew across the Texas border using military squawk code. So no Coast Guard, nobody even messed with them, and the planes were guarded by the Arkansas State Police. And then after Bush and Reagan got out of office, who came in office? That's why the Bushes and the Clintons are so tight.
Uh so Yvette says Tom Cruise. Was it Tom Cruise?
Right, right, right.
Yeah, she said Made in America is a great movie.
Yeah, but see, they leave a lot of stuff out, but they hit all the high points. They hit
Mm.
all the high points. When they're done with you, when the government's done with you, especially the CIA, they kill you. Rick Ross got lucky; he went to prison.
Well, this
Usually, you
this
don't get to talk about it.
well, yeah, I mean that's because he went to trial, and it's all like you can, and it's public record, like you can dig up his trial and read the transcripts where the CIA was testified, all of this stuff came out in trial. So I mean, the research is there, but who knows what's going on behind closed doors? Maybe that's why he won't reach out to me, because he knows that's what I'm gonna talk to him about. He knows that's why I'm gonna bring him on the show. Where'd you go, P? There he
Yeah,
goes. But
yeah, I'm back.
no, and getting back into the Texas heat, the prison heat, and so on. I mean, I've experienced that out there, and being on that weight pile, it gets hot, hot, hot. I don't like working out in the cold. I used to go. I would go out and work out in the cold, but it would tear my joints up. I would just go light. I wouldn't go heavy in the cold. Some people love powerlifting in the cold. I just couldn't get warmed up enough. I'm not. I need heat.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, you need to stay at a weight that you can't hurt yourself. Stay under 92%.
That's kind of where I got hurt at, though. Was out there because I really wasn't in tune. I was just learning about my body out there, taking the personal trainer classes, the NFPT personal trainer, things of that nature. And these dudes were trying to give me bulk, and I don't have the body size. My body is not made for bulk. You know what I mean? I'm a
Right.
wiry guy. I'm athletic. I'm wiry. I'm twitch muscle. I'm
Well, the thing is, if you can't do 7 reps, you shouldn't be touching the weight.
Well, they were trying to get me down to like two anywhere from 2 to 5 reps is the weight that
That
they were trying to put on me for
doesn't
growth.
work. No, this growth is going to happen around 7 reps. When I one of the first books I read when I got into working out was by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's the best thing that I ever did. And
I got it. I got it right in there on the shelf.
he stresses, heavy as you can, 7 reps. And I'll tell you what, it really works good for size, strength, everything.
Well, you can only do. It just depends on the weight that you're gonna push, because you can't do your max for 7 reps. That's why it's a.
No, if you can't get it for 7 reps, then it's too heavy. If you can get one set for 7, then you can continue with 2 more sets with that same weight. Maybe you might get a 6 the next set. Maybe you might get 5 the next set. But then eventually, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to get 3 sets of 7, and you progressed.
There's all different. There's all different methods. So I mean, me and my shoulders started getting blown out. And I just ended up starting to work on endurance training. I would do 20 to 25 reps. I would work with a weight where I could get in anywhere from 20 to 25 reps, and I would just start doing circuits. I would
Right, that's
do.
really good. The
Oh
circuit.
man, I would do anywhere. I got to a point to where I was doing 5 rounds, 5 different exercises at 20 to 25 reps each exercise, right? With maybe a 30, anywhere from 30 to 45-second rest in between each circuit. Like it would take me maybe 30 to 45 minutes to run this circuit. I would just blow through it, you know?
Yeah. The circuit's where it's at.
But that's where I found my strength at. My strength wasn't in bulk. It wasn't in being huge. It was just into the endurance. But
Well, let me say this: being bulky does not does not have anything to do with. You can be bulky and weak. You can be bulky and strong. You can be bulky and medium strength. You can be small and super strong. You can be small and super weak.
it's all
You
on the
can be
body type.
small. So no, I don't think it's all how the muscles are trained. You know, so you can be cut up and be super strong. You can be cut up and be like mediocre. It's all everything is relative to the individual. Especially genetics going to play. Some people are genetically gifted more than others when it comes to strength or when it comes to body fat content. You know.
Yeah. So if you have the chance, people, thank you again for guys subscribing and tuning in. But if you have the chance to call your your governor, your local person. You know, before we go, I'm just gonna read you a quick article. This just came out in the BBC News about this is a worldwide thing. This came out in the BBC News about the heat out in the Texas prison. So what it says is Calvin Johnson spent 37 years in a Texas state prison, including 37 summers in a jail cell with no air conditioning. On the countless blistering hot days when temperatures climbed above 37.7 degrees Celsius, which is 100 Fahrenheit, his survival depended upon a mix of creativity and desperation to stay cool, stay alive. Sometimes you can clog the commode and let the water run, Mr. Johnson, 67 years old, said. Put your pants and your shirt across that, lay in the water for a while. It's something he did a bunch of times. And though he never tried, Johnson said he even saw inmates drinking the water from the toilet because it was a few degrees cooler than what comes from the cell sink. You ever done that, P? You ever drunk that good old toilet water?
No, I haven't done that.
While there were some means to cool off available in the prison where Johnson was incarcerated, he said they weren't easy to access. Fans were few, he said, and ice was rare. People passed out from that heat. I've seen that many times. The year he was released from prison in 2022, it was the third hottest summer on record in the U.S., according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. This week, over 230 million Americans will experience temperatures above 90 degrees. The increasing frequency of dangerous, hot conditions has drawn renewed attention to U.S. prisons and calls for reform. 13 states in the hottest parts of the U.S., including Texas and Arizona, lack universal air conditioning in prisons. And this is according to an analyst by the Prison Policy Initiative, creating deadly conditions. One study published in PLOS 1 found that summertime mortality rates in the U.S. state and private prisons rose by 5.2% for every 10 degrees Fahrenheit increase in temperature above historical averages. Of the 100 prisons operated by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, 31 are fully air-conditioned and 55 have air-conditioned limits to certain areas. 14 have no cooling at all, like Wainwright Prison where Johnson was incarcerated. In November, researchers at Brown, Boston, and Harvard universities found that between 2001 and 2019, 13% of the deaths that occurred in Texas prisons without universal air conditioning may be attributable to the extreme heat. Since mid-June, at least 9 prisoners have died of reported heart attacks or cardiac events in uncooled Texas prisons, where the outdoor heat indicates were above 100 degrees. The newspaper said at least another 14 died of unknown causes on days of extreme heat and that they were often found unresponsive in their cells by prison staff. So there's more to the article. It's a pretty long article, you guys. Again, bbc.com. Just type in prison heat. You'll be able to find that to read the rest of the article. But you guys definitely get the idea of how these American citizens need our help in understanding that, yes, they committed a crime. Yes, they're in there trying to pay back their debt to society. And as I said at the top of the show, that shouldn't be a death penalty for them or a lifelong health issue that is a residual from sitting and baking in a hot cell. So please get a hold of your local congressman, find out what needs to be done. You support any bill that supports universal air conditioning being put into these prisons, and let's rally behind these people because they have to come back into our communities, and we have to start showing them that they are cared for and forgiven, and loved, and we do want them to come home and be productive citizens with their life. So, PJ, with that, man, what you got, partner?
Definitely. You're definitely right about that. I mean, they need to bring back parole in every state, and they need to put back the weights back in the prison, so to give the prisoners something to do with the time instead of you know violence on each other, and just sitting around looking at each other, and the next thing you know is violence. Now, if they have somewhere to, you know, get that aggression out, like on the weight pile, the heavy bag, and all the things they used to have, you know, the common sense, put some common sense back in the prison and start feeding them food that's that doesn't say on the box not meant for human consumption. I mean, you can't be feeding people meat and it says right there it's not meant for humans. I mean, green liver, what's going on has to stop. Somebody, with some common sense needs to get control and fix this broken system. And parole is another way of righting a wrong of sentences that were mandated by guideline books and whatnot. So parole is the way to right that wrong. So they
Yeah,
need to get a common sense approach, to the whole prison system, top to bottom. And with that,
yeah.
I will close.
Yeah, we definitely got to get the business out of prison and turn it back in. Well, turn it into what it's supposed to be, is a rehabilitative center. It'll never be a rehabilitative center as long as big business is involved in it and it's being capitalized and marketed to. So definitely on that. And as far as the food, PJ, they're feeding the same food to the people out here. They're just dressing it up better and putting it in different packages because the inmates, they don't care. They're just slaves, right? The Constitution tells them they're slaves, so they don't care about that. But they're feeding us the same stuff out here. They're making this fake food and this processed food and all of this stuff, and they're pushing it out here, man. Like, you don't know what you're eating. You don't know what you're eating anymore, man. You eat it to survive. I barely even eat anymore. I eat when I have to. I don't have the
Yeah,
money to make sure I know what I'm eating. I got to eat what my money can buy me, and that ain't much, you know. Like I bought some steaks the other day, 3 steaks, and they had like brown spots all over them. And I'm looking at this meat, I'm getting ready to make it, and I'm like, man, what the hell are these brown spots? People tell me, oh, it's okay, it's just bruising, oxygen, blah, whatever. I've never seen meat with brown spots before. These brown spots all over it, and
right.
and I threw it out. People are like, you could have ate it.
I give the meat to my dog, the steak, the ground beef.
I don't have a dog. I wouldn't torture him like that, man. So,
All right. Nice
but
talking to you, buddy.
absolutely, for the listener, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can catch me just by searching Thomas Free Me. All my platforms, TikTok, I'm everywhere. Like I say, I'm the Muffin Man. More importantly, thank you to all my subscribers, my listeners. Thank you to 88.5 WMNF for allowing this stream to be played on their airwaves. And shirts, got the shirts in, the Coming Home Coalition shirts. If you want to show your support, you can go. You can get the shirts. Also, my book will be coming out August 26th, which is my birthday. You can pre-order it now, right? The Power of a Positive Mindset for the Returning Citizen. You can just go to Amazon and just search again, Thomas Free Me, and it'll come right up. So right now, the only book on pre-order is the internet, the online version, $10. This book will change your life. So $10 is definitely worth that. You'll go give a psychiatrist, thousands of dollars. Just try my book before you go do that and see if that helps you out at all. $10. But the hard copy, the paperback will be out soon for the pre-order as well. So you can do all that. www.cominghomecoalition.com. Once again, guys, thank you so much. and continue to be your best self, man. Just look out for your neighbor, show love, be kind. Don't worry about what's going on around you. Don't let it stress you out. Just deal with what's in front of you. Stay centered, stay out of your emotions, and let's build. With that, me and PJ, we out.